Alright, so I want to go into a little bit more detail. This is a temperature gauge. I use this to make sure that it does not get too hot in here, because if you put too much nitrogen and stuff like that, it'll get too hot. So this is the beautiful, I have this layered with a little bit of carbon to help with any kind of, smell or anything like that, because this one's in the house. And look at that beautiful soil. I mean, that's what my plants love. I use it for growing all my stuff, and trust me, there's plenty of worms in here. You want some worm action? I've got the worm action. Let me tell you what. There's some worms. They're looking pretty happy to me. There's a worm. Here, let me try to find an egg. Let me see here. They do lay little eggs that look like caviar everywhere. There's these little eggs. Sometimes they're hard to find. And maybe a lot of them hatched too. So, I'll find eggs later, but how do you make a bin like this? Alright, well, this one is double layered, so there's a layer of carbon at the bottom of this that soaks up all the leachate. There's holes drilled in the bottom of this, very many holes. You could put a wire screen mesh at the bottom to help hold back the dirt, about 1/4 inch. That would probably help to keep the dirt from blocking up the holes. It's not necessary though. So you want to make sure you have holes in the bottom though, for drainage. Otherwise they'll basically live in their own pee, which is not a happy place for a worm. Other than that, you give them ground up eggshells. They basically have a gizzard like a chicken, and yeah, they're pretty basic, pretty easy to get going. There's a lot of compost in here that I did not have to pay for. I mean, look how deep this is. I've got a big hand too. I mean, there's a little worm egg right there. I think that's it. Oh, that's a little too big. No. I'm trying to find a worm egg for you. Yeah, this is all like beautiful stuff because they've been working on it for a while. I've let this sit and kind of age and get beautiful. There's a little bit of coffee grounds left in there from the last time. You can give them coffee grounds. You can give them kitchen scraps. If you want to speed it up, you can blend it in a blender and feed it to them. It's best to give it with a little eggshell if you can. It just helps things along. You can give them leaves. You can give them, pretty much anything biodegradable. I'd stick away from meat because it just is really stinky. Do that outside in a pile with all the bones and everything, with some kind of wood chip organic matter like this on top. It's like carbonaceous diaper. That's what Joel Salatin calls it, and it works a treat. So back with some more worm stuff later, but I would also recommend getting a smaller tote because these things get heavy. You can get a good small one at Home Depot, and probably about 1/4 less in size. So 2/3 the size or so would be recommended, or 3/4 of this size, which is about 4 feet or 3 feet, somewhere in there in diameter, by 2 feet. Yeah, so I've got bigger plans for these worms. I plan on keeping them in big containers outside eventually, so I can get to it easier. But there's a challenge with winter around here that not many people think about when it comes to worm farming and things like that. So, you can't have it freeze solid, which is not good for the worms, and you can't have it be too hot. So it's a big deal.